What it do, y'all? What is going on? It is I, alone, by myself. No cohorts, no amigos, just me today. Quincy's traveling. Joe is just wrapping up traveling. So it's kind of like a perfect storm of imperfectness. But I am here, have no fear. I sent out the bat signal just in case by any chance they're available right now. Because sometimes little pockets of time be opening up and they can definitely pop in if they so choose. But let's say this, just full transparency. I'm listening to Maxwell right now. I've been kind of like in a little funk. And I wouldn't even say a funk. I would say I've been kind of wrapped up in a lot of different projects, and you get kind of lost in this shuffle of like a lot of stuff is going on, but it's a lot of it is unfinished slash a lot of it is in process. So you're not really achieving anything per se. You're just taking steps and digging away at the projects. And I'm in like that little weird space where like right now I really don't got nothing to show for it with either of the projects. So it's a little weird space to be in. It's like you're working hard, but you're not really feeling the benefits, I guess, of the work. But that's why we push through. Shout out to the boy Freddie, man. I had a conversation with him earlier, and we were just kind of going over different things that have been going on, slash, you know, situations that have been arising, slash, changing. And we were just talking about, like, hey, a lot of that work be the difference sometimes of, you being in a situation you're in and somebody that might be in a situation where they're looking at you and they want to be in your shoes. They don't know that all that work got you there and you still not done. You know what I mean? Especially nowadays with social media, where, for example, with music, you could take a trip to Atlanta, and if you got money, you can go to a studio. Even that sometimes is something that you post and people are like, dang, man, he's doing big things. X, Y, and Z is happening. But you really ain't do nothing. You just took the trip and you spent some money. You know what I mean? And that was something that we went through as like we were kind of navigating our way through the music. And now, some like 5 years later in this iteration of the music, it's like people look at you a certain way and they almost think that it's like you might have just discovered something that they don't know yet. And all you need to do is kind of give them that secret. But that's definitely not the case. It's all about the journey. It's all about the work. You know what I mean? Just something that's been coming up a lot, like in my personal life, just with people I've been dealing with and just people in my life, even, you know what I mean? Where you kind of can see people are aiming for something, but they might not know how to take that first step, or they might be thinking a lot about that first step when there's no right way to take it. And even if you do take it the right way, it's not going to matter in the long run. You know what I mean? You just got to take that step and take that leap and go through that ugly stage, something we talk about on this show all the time. You got to go through that ugly stage. It's just no way around it. Somebody that is an Olympic diver, you see them at the top of that platform and hitting this crazy spin and hitting the water, and it barely makes a drop. But you ain't seen the belly flops. You know what I mean? You ain't seen the 8 hours in the community pool where they just shriveled up, but they just keep working to keep building that muscle memory and to keep, building those muscles, period, just to be able to perform. And it's something that people find, I wouldn't say they find it fascinating, but it's definitely something that people kind of overthink and maybe make it bigger than what it is. But most of the time, the difference between people that do stuff and don't do stuff is the people that do stuff actually do it. You know what I mean? It sounds kind of simple and dumb, but it always goes back to something I always think about. And I've mentioned on the show before, but it's something that was really impactful once I realized it later on. And I always forget things, and I don't even remember who told me this, but the actual idea stuck with me so much. You know what I mean? But when I was first, not when I first started making music, because I've been making music a long time. I used to rap before. I was actually like in a little rap group. We got signed to a hometown record label. We ended up opening up for 3 6 Mafia at the House of Blues. And, that was a cool little ride. And there was a lot of twists and turns with that. We learned a lot of different things about, business and kind of seeing those red flags. You know what I mean? Fast forward to now, and you still kind of deal with that same kind of stuff. But back to what I was saying with the music thing, it's like somebody told me a long time ago when I asked kind of like advice on things you should do to kind of move forward, good habits, things like that. And they told me keep recording, you know and it was something that at the time seemed very dismissive. It seemed like they was trying to, brush me off and tell me some generic thing. But all this time later, I really understood what they really meant, just from the point of view of like, if you're in the lab cooking, creating, and you're consistently doing that, that's how you learn how to break through those ruts. That's how you learn the tricks. That's how you learn all the stuff you're looking for is in the work. You know what I mean? And that's kind of with the concept of, hey, just record. That's anything else. Anything you're trying to do, you're trying to get better at it, do it more. Practice, spend more time in it, let it consume you. You know what I mean? That's another thing too about just learning things and getting better at things and being the type of person that's going to push forward and grow in what they do is actually doing it and taking the time and creating that habit in yourself of actually putting the time aside, actually being able to have the energy to push through. Because, perfect example, shout out to Unc. When me and him first kind of locked in, and he saw something in what I was doing where he extended his hand, it was something where it was like, hey, I want to work with you, but I got this time, and the time is like almost overnight. You know what I mean? I got a family, I got a business. You know what I mean? So this is the kind of thing where it's like, dang, I'm gonna have to be doing them kind of hours. But it's like either you do it or it doesn't get done. You know what I mean? The opportunities be popping up. People just don't want to recognize them as opportunities because they're not ideal. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you gotta you gotta make those sacrifices. You gotta know that anytime you try and do something extra, it's gonna be extra work. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever just gonna get a job and work 9 to 5 and then come home and chill and do something extraordinary. You know what I mean? It's not the 9 to 5 that will limit you or put you in a box. It's yourself. It, the crazy thing about work to me is like, and one of the reasons why I was never the type of person. I was real big on school, and um man, I didn't go to college. I didn't even graduate high school. I got a GED like a couple years after. And you know it's not for lack of knowledge, and it's not for lack of seeking knowledge. It's just, right or wrong, I just didn't see any value in it. You know what I mean? And later on in life, I really learned what I didn't see value in was the followerness that sometimes associates with that. Not saying that everybody that goes to school or whatever is a follower, but just because you go to school doesn't mean that your path is already paved for you. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people that go to school, have a plan for their life, and they kind of get in this zone or rhythm where they don't think about what they're doing anymore. It's just like, this is what I think I should do, and it kind of stops there. And that kind of thing is like where it kind of drives me crazy, seeing it from the outside looking in with certain people, where it's like, dang, you just work, you consume by work, you come home, you don't got enough energy to do anything with your family, your significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, kids, whatever it is, whoever you got in your life. The work takes so much away from your actual life, where the work becomes your life. You know what I mean? You see it with so many people, and you know a lot of people have that mindset of like, oh, I gotta do it because I gotta provide this and that. And it's like, Nobody's saying it don't work. All I'm saying is figure out how to feed yourself in that process and figure out how to make your life slash your situation make it work for you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna look this up because I seen it online and I'm not sure if it's 100% true, but it's something I saw about working that kind of not necessarily opened my eyes, but it's a good example. Here it is. It's a good example of what I'm talking about and kind of like my concept behind it. So by now, a lot of people have heard about Jamie Foxx, prayers up. They said that he went through some serious health problems and there was a lot of different things coming out. He was in the middle of shooting a movie. He had to like stop as an emergency, and just really focus on his health because it was something that, they say that he almost passed away from. The movie just got a stunt double to finish the stuff that he was doing. They're on a schedule. They've got a whole bunch of money riding on that. And Jamie Foxx being almost dead doesn't stop the train. You know what I mean? And I say that just to say the idea that, there's so many people that give so much to their jobs and so much to a corporate lifestyle, or they give so much importance to their career advancement that it becomes something that kind of they neglect and put to the side the things that make them human. You know what I mean? You got to figure out a way to balance that the right way. You got to figure out a way to be in a situation where your work doesn't define you. And when I say work, I mean your literal job, like the the things that are trivial in your day that are just things that you have to do because it's part of the whole system that we're all in. You know what I mean? And it's just sad a lot of times to see people kind of just living their lives and they're just kind of letting it, they're just kind of letting the days float. You know what I mean? The time is something that everybody knows, but obviously time is something that you can't get back. Time is something you can't create. You know what I mean? No matter what you find valuable, time is always going to be that thing that's going to be the most valuable, because even when you're working, your time is worth more money the more skill you have, which means that the time of somebody that has a very strong and smart mind that can get things done, that can create, that can produce, that can move companies along, the time of that person is worth so much that they're going to pay you more. I mean, a crazy amount more than somebody that's going to be doing a lower level job. You know what I mean? And that's something that a lot of people also lament with, like, people working hourly jobs. It's like they want to get paid more at certain jobs, but it's like you're doing something that anybody can come in here and do. You know what I mean? If you're looking to get paid more, you need to figure out a way to add value to yourself and to be valuable in whatever situation you're in and have an actual skill that you can bring to the situation. And that's the part of the schooling thing that I missed as far as my thinking as a kid, which obviously wasn't 100% the right thinking. But, you know, going to school and learning these things and actually using it to your benefit to add value to you later on, that's what you should be thinking about when it comes to school, when it comes to these jobs. I mean, I've heard of people that got jobs that, you can go to work and get paid to learn how to, let's say, you know, fix things around the house. If you're a maintenance man, you can go to school to be an electrician and become an electrician. And basically you're getting paid to figure out these situations that whenever you need them done for you, you have those skills and you don't have to pay nobody else. So not only are you making money doing something for other people, but you're saving that money doing it for yourself because you're not having to pay it to anybody because you already have that skill. And I just find it super valuable. I've always been the type of person that wants to learn anything I can learn, as far as like doing things with my hands, as far as like building, fixing, anything that has to do with tools, even just having tools. I've always been the type of person that that if anybody offers me like, yo, I got this extra tool, I got a new one, do you want it? I'll take it. You know what I mean? Because the more tools you have, the more options you have to just get things done. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm kind of rambling right now, but this is like one of them shows where I can kind of just ramble on uninterrupted, because I be interrupting myself even sometimes. Like I was listening to last week's episode and I was trying to cut the clips to put them on my Instagram and the TikTok and everything, and I just couldn't find like a clip where I could just cut like 15 seconds or something, because every 2 seconds I'm like starting to talk about something else or remembering something or cutting to another part of the story. And it was super frustrating even just hearing myself. So I'm going to try to be better at that, because if it was frustrating for me to listen to, I know it had to be frustrating for people to listen to. But going back to last week we had the episode when we talked about the barbecue that we had for just to get together, and we ended up turning it into Quincy's video shoot for Good Days. He's doing real good well with that song, and it's one of his better performance songs, and it's definitely a vibe that we want to hear more of from him, because it definitely like just fits him perfectly. And man, that story about the barbecue was just so hilarious, and it was something that everybody that was involved just, man, hearing that podcast was just ridiculously funny, and just hearing from the people that was there afterwards was hilarious. And I'm hoping we can do a lot more events just for the podcast, and just for the people that listen, for the people that have been listening, for new listeners, even just stuff that we can do for people that don't listen but can benefit from, the type of event that we put on. Because we want to kind of build like this community type of vibe with the show, and it's something that hasn't really been cultivated yet. But I know we're on the right path, because what we're talking about and the way that we've been structuring things and the way that we've been rolling has been how I've hoped that it would go. You know what I mean? So as things unroll and as we start, kind of expanding and figuring out what we really want to do with this, it's going to get a lot doper, and there's going to be a lot more exciting things coming, and exciting as far as like just interactive and community type things. You know what I mean? With the podcast, we're coming up on 50 episodes. We've actually already dropped 50 actual audio recordings, because some shows we've split in two. So they were technically two different podcasts, but it's really one show. So we're past 50 actual episodes that are out. But as far as like official titles, counting the part one and twos as one episode, we're on episode 47. So we're 3 episodes away from 50 episodes. And like I said, we've had part ones and twos. So we're already past a year. And the fact that we're past a year is so dope, just because the idea that we've been so consistent with this and have rolled it out the way we have, and it's been growing, and in by no means is it at some crazy level, but it's definitely been growing and getting to a dope level. There's been a good amount of people that are tapped in and tuned in. We're not just speaking into the void, which is super dope. But more than all that, it's just the fact that this is kind of like the last thing on everybody's plate right now. You know what I mean? Like Quincy's got a lot of stuff going on with his engagement. He's still pretty fresh with his move to Georgia. So even though he's settled in, he's still not 100% settled in, if it makes sense. You know what I mean? He's not so acclimated into the community. He's not, 100% set up in his place where how he wants to be. And just the fact that he's juggling that with also a lot of different professional changes that are happening in his life, and a lot of goals that he's trying to cross off as far as going up in his job, and just becoming a professional with a portfolio and assets, and basically like the dynasty that he's trying to build for his future family and family now is super dope. And just the plan he has with that is super dope, and just how he kind of sees his legacy as being kind of like the foundation of the future of his family is really dope. And it's a big task. And I say that to say all that stuff he's doing, he's still making sure that the podcast gets done. You know what I mean? And that's something that, like, there's people that all they want to do is start a podcast. You know what I'm saying? And can't find the time to record an episode a week or two episodes a week. You know what I mean? You got people like Joe that's, you know, traveling like crazy for either work or just other stuff that he got going on. He's in the Las Vegas time zone, so he's 3 hours behind us. So just imagine just the time difference, how much that affects what's going on. Obviously, he has his everyday regular life. He's in the middle of basically working out the logistics of a move back from Las Vegas to Florida that he announced last time that he's coming back. He's in the middle of, and I can't even say what it is because I don't know what I can say. But the types of projects Joe works on is just like, and then the job that he does and everything is like super like advanced kind of stuff and stressful projects that sometimes will last 6 months. You know what I mean? It's, you know, a team of like 20 people working on something every day for 6 months. I mean, the amount of stuff this guy got on his plate and still finding the time to do the podcast. And again, there's people that all they want to do is start a podcast and can't find the time to record their podcast episodes. So, you know, I like to associate myself with people like that because I'm the type of person that I just can't stand sitting around and hearing excuses. You know what I mean? I don't like dreaming. I don't like giving excuses. Anything that doesn't have action attached to it, I don't like being associated with it. I'm the type of person that I'd rather do something wrong because we jumped into it and then at least learn how to do it better the next time. Then I'm not the type of I'm more like that than the type of person that's gonna sit and plan forever and either not do it or finally get it done years later. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I say that to basically just say, which is the overall theme of what I'm talking about today, is get up off your ass and do something. At the end of the day, all you got is this life, and the time that you spent is gone. The time that's coming, you don't know how long it is, how much it is, but you have to cherish it, and it's all you got. All you got is the time that's coming, and you don't even know how much that is. Think about how profound that is. There's so many people that bank on, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do this. Nah, man, you banking on something that you have no clue about. You have to make it happen. There's no excuse. You can wait for the perfect moment. It's never gonna happen. You're just gonna keep waiting. You could wait. You can't wait. You know what I'm saying? I could lay out all the scenarios, but realistically, you just can't wait. You got to make it happen now and just be realistic with yourself. If you realize that you're not the type of person that's gonna do X, Y, and Z, at least do X. You know what I mean? Figure out how to at least do a little bit of it. Figure out how to stimulate your mind and give your life more meaning than just the meaningless drivel that has been given to you by society. At the end of the day, this whole go to school, get a job, save up for all that wasn't even how, I mean, that's how we living right now in this iteration of life. It's not even how people are living on other continents. It's not even how people are living in other countries. It's not how people were living in other times. This is how we're living right now because that's the construct that was put before us. The idea that you're going to dedicate your life to a lifestyle that might be obsolete in 5 years is crazy to me. It's just nuts, and I will never understand it. Work is a means to an end, regardless of how much you, even let's say I end up being able to 100% just make my money off music and that's it, right? At the end of the day, working in music is a means to an end. What I really want to do is make timeless music that will stick around for centuries to come. And the same thing Quincy's trying to do as far as being that first generation in my family that sets up the dynasty for years to come. Even that, and even my musical goals have nothing to do with working as a musician for a living. What you do for a living is just you working to satisfy what you're really here to do. So remember that. Always give that extra effort to think every single day, what am I doing? And sometimes, and I'm gonna tell you like this: it's not something that you're gonna ask yourself that one day, and it's gonna just reveal itself to you, or you're gonna feel clear minded because of it. Because there's plenty of days where I wake up and I'm like, what am I doing? And I have no answer to it. For whatever reason that day, I might just be super down on everything that I've been working on. I might hear the last 5 songs I did, and just the way my ears work that day, they're all trash. I wonder, like, why am I even trying to sing? Like, this is garbage. Like, I have those days. Everybody has those days, man. Like, don't don't get caught up in romanticizing things and forget that we all people, we all humans at the end of the day. It's the same idea of people working in fast food, and we talked about it on the show before. No offense to those people, ain't nothing wrong with it. But at the end of the day, when you get so caught up in your job that you're treating people like shit just because that's the corporate policy, or you're thinking about hitting your target numbers of how many burgers you're supposed to make in an hour, like all that stuff is irrelevant. You a person first. We all people first. Satisfy the person in you, satisfy your soul. That's so important, and people lose that so much, and then they wonder why they feel the way they feel. Is because you've lost your soul. You're not a person anymore. You're just a unit, running through every day and just being a statistic, in the sense of you're just one of the stats in in the news. You know what I'm saying? Just as far as 86% of Americans smell like cottage cheese. You're just one of them people. You know what I'm saying? If you're not spending your time to really build yourself and understand how to satisfy your soul, you're wasting your time. And I strongly believe that. You know what I mean? It's something that has been on the forefront of my mind for a lot of years. It's something that I don't necessarily talk about with a lot of people, and I don't necessarily talk with a lot of people, period. I'm just not a people person. It sounds crazy because, I make music and I'm posting every day. I promise you, if I didn't make music, I would not have social media, because before I started singing, I didn't have social media. I didn't have Facebook. I didn't have Instagram. My wife had it. I was just happy just being off the grid. And I still am happy being off the grid, because I'm not big on things that ain't real. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, this phone right here, when I put it upside down on my desk, it has no bearing on my life. If it dies, that's it. It has no bearing on my life. And the crazy thing is, when it's not dead and it's fully charged, and you know I'm getting notification, it still has no bearing on my life. There's so much more to satisfying and fulfilling your soul than people's acceptance, people's company, even. I mean, that's a whole nother show, but man, I really feel like there's so much value in spending time alone, to the point where you just get so in tune with that little voice inside your head that you're just kind of operating on a level that people you'll notice people don't understand it, slash they won't want to accept it, because they don't want to accept that you're at peace. I promise you. And it's not a thing of like people are haters or all this bullshit that you hear, like, oh, they don't want to see you win. Like, nah, it got nothing to do with none of that. It has everything to do with the fact that everybody's living inside their own head. Everybody is their own person. And at the end of the day, they care about themselves. And there is nothing wrong with that. It's wrong when their selfishness affects other people in a negative way. But at the same time, if somebody's selfishness is affecting you in a negative way, but they're not actually doing anything to you, then it's the problem is with you. You haven't found that peace in yourself to say, hey, this person don't want to rock with me no more. This person don't got time for me no more. This person, um, in their mind, they elevated to another space and they grew out of me. You can't take none of that personal, and you can't feel like that's like a form of disrespect or anything like that. That person is doing whatever's best for them, because at the end of the day, they lay their head down on their pillow and have their thoughts. They're not laying your head down on your pillow and having your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's so simple, but it takes so many people. I don't know, man. I know a lot of people that still don't get that. I mean, so many people. I mean, I would say 9 out of 10 people don't get that. And when you're going through every day and kind of seeing that, what are you supposed to do? I mean, to a certain point, I don't even like to waste my own breath. So, you know, a lot of people find me real quiet. A lot of people find me like kind of like to myself. I have like a certain kind of vibe to me that people might feel like is like standoffish, or like, they might read it the wrong way. And honestly, what it really is I just have an energy of, I'm looking for a specific type of frequency slash vibe from the people I interact with. And if I don't see that, and I know there's certain elements in there that's going to not be optimal for me to be operating at my best, rocking with you, then we not rocking. And I honestly don't feel like I owe anybody an explanation for that, because at the end of the day, it goes back to what I just said. We live in our lives, and we have an obligation to ourselves to feed our souls in the healthiest way possible. And it's not going to happen if we worrying about other people and being lazy. And that's pretty much it, man. I've been wanting to kind of do like one of these episodes by myself, just to kind of get these thoughts off for a little while. But I didn't want to force it either. You know what I mean? I knew it's been something that's been on my mind that I wanted to talk about. And today just kind of happened to be that perfect storm of me being able to execute it. And if you made it this far, man, thank you for listening. And I hope people could kind of take away something from what I'm saying. If y'all got any time, or y'all just want to leave some comments and just kind of talk about it on the next episode, like what you kind of took away from this, make sure y'all hit us up, man. We're trying to get people to hit us up at Grounded Show Pod on Instagram. Again, at Grounded Show Pod on Instagram. The email is everythinggrounded@gmail.com. Everythinggrounded@gmail.com. You can hit us up either way. We got Facebook too, The Grounded Show. I mean, let us know what's up, man. At the end of the day, we saying this stuff for the people that need it, but we need to know y'all out there. So make sure y'all tap in. Signing off for my dog Joe and my dog Quincy. It's your boy Left Alone, Sylvester Left Alone, because I'm alone today. Um, I got a new song out called Imagine. It's a De La Ghetto cover. It's been getting a lot of dope feedback. Please make sure y'all check it out. I got Comfortable that I released before that. That one's been getting a lot of love. Shout out to the Yams playlist. Shout out to Dante. They just threw that on there, man. I'm super hyped because that playlist is so dope and so legit. And it's one of those things where it's like that hard work that I'm talking about. Like, that's the kind of thing that you get to, that kind of shows you like you're doing the right thing and you're on the right path. So stay butter.